Welcome, basketball fans all over the world, and Happy New Year in 2022. It is the BCL Trash Talk podcast. I am your host, Josh Bett, and with us again is the fantastic Vasiliki Karamouza. Vasiliki, how are you?
I'm very well, Josh. How about you?
Well, it's 2022. It's great to have you back. Why don't we let the fans know what's coming up on the show?
Yeah, so on today's show, we'll review some of the BCL news so far, and we will also talk about the exciting matchups in the play-ins that are about to begin this week.
And for the main event, I will be meeting with Hapoel Holon's player, Chris Johnson.
Yeah, but before we go any further, I'd like to highlight the exciting content featuring Galatasaray on Basketball Champions League YouTube channel. Have you seen it?
Humans of BCL, as it's called. This is got to be one of the greatest pieces of basketball content. It's been made by the Basketball Champions League. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful story of a Galatasaray fan in Istanbul who inherits his love for the sport through his father and talks about the journey of how he passes on that love and ambition to his son. Make sure you watch it. It's on the Basketball Champions League YouTube platform. It's an unbelievable 12-minute mini document series. Great work. Again, fantastic basketball content. And it just shows you that basketball is absolutely nothing without the fans. The fans make the Basketball Champions League what it is.
Yeah, I have to say it was dope. I first saw the trailer, and afterwards I saw the whole thing, and it was way better than I even expected. So I have to congratulate BCL and FIBA on this one.
Well, let's talk about the play-ins now, because we've got some interesting matchups. But we've got Igor Kea versus Felu Ostenda. Now, Igor Chodkovic, the partner that we usually have here in the Basketball Champions League, he is a big fan of Igor Kea. But at the same time, Dario Georgia, as he labeled Dusan Djordjevic, the doctor of basketball. That is going to be a very interesting series. I could see that one really going down to the wire. JDA Dijon against Verfriga, another tough one. But I'm going to have to go with Dijon on this one. I think that's going to be their matchup to win. But the biggest matchup I think that people are going to be talking about is Herrera San Pablo Burgos, the two-time defending champions. They're up against Darüşşafaka. Now, look, we know that the Turkish basketball fans, they want success here in the Basketball Champions League, but it doesn't get any tougher for Darüşşafaka as they have to play up against Herrera San Pablo Burgos, who are on their way to make history for a three-peat. But of course, the big matchup that I'll be looking forward to is going to be Beşiktaş, as on Wednesday, they will be taking on Hapoel Holon.
Yeah, speaking of Holon, I believe you're meeting Chris Johnson for the main event. So what do you think it was like for Holon players to be waiting for Cluj results after they won their own last game?
Well, it's tough because you got to think the fact that destiny wasn't in their hand. They had to play a game at home in which they did win by a very narrow 4 points, a very, very close game. Their record then went to 4-2. They had the head-to-head in their favor against Cluj, but they had to make sure that Cluj lost the game. But Cluj, they did the impossible. They defeated Darüşşafaka. That was a big win for them. And again, you could see the anxiety, but I love that picture. You got players, officials, table officials, fans in the background just watching one screen, waiting for that result. Of course, the result didn't go in their favor, but I'm about to go meet Chris Johnson now to discuss Hapoel Holon. Let's move on now to the main event of the BCL Trash Talk podcast. Welcome now to the main event of the BCL Trash Talk podcast, and I'm here with my guest, Chris Johnson of Hapoel Holon. Chris, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Thank you. How about you?
Well, the new year is here. Happy New Year to you, of course. I mean, you're currently right now in Israel. I'm here in London, but, happy 2022.
Of course.
First of all, I got to ask you, got to go straight to it. I mean, look, last game of the regular season for you guys in the Basketball Champions League was a victory. And you then have to wait to see how Cluj, how their game ended up. What was that feeling like for you guys as a team?
For us, we just had to take care of our business at home. We had to beat Brindisi. We did that. Towards the end of the game, we was keeping up with the score with Cluj, and we saw they was down, 18 with 4 minutes ago, and then all of a sudden it just changed. But we thought we had a chance just to, advance, right in, but, control your own destiny. So you don't control what you can control. And, we got another chance at it on Wednesday.
Well, the next game for you guys, of course, you have to regroup, is going to be a very important game. I mean, let's talk about that Beşiktaş matchup. I mean, how do you guys feel going into this matchup against such a very good team from Turkey?
We're feeling good. We're feeling confident. we like our chances. You know, we just got to, you know, do the scouting report, you know, prepare and practice, and, you know, just transfer in the game.
Now let's talk about your career, of course. I mean, look, you spent some time playing in the NBA. I believe your first time playing professionally in Europe was in France. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Grab-wings.
That's it. And then you made the jump to go and play for Hapoel Jerusalem. What was that experience like, making that jump from the NBA to Europe?
It was different. You know, it came at me, you know, pretty fast. You know, I had a week to decide to go over to Europe. You know, it was different. You know, I had to adjust over time, you know, but once I got used to it, you know, I embraced the culture. You know, I started learning more about the European basketball, you know, the culture, you know, and what it's like to play overseas.
Of course, you know, playing for big clubs such as Hapoel Jerusalem is massive. And then you make the change again. You go to France, but then you come back to Israel. How have you settled into life? I mean, this is now your second season with Holon. How has it been so far?
It's been great. It's been amazing. You know, Israel is a great country. You know, I love it here. It's been great. You're just enjoying the time here, embracing the culture, you know, learning more about their religion, and, you know, just enjoying it.
Now, of course, let's talk about those Holon fans, because I haven't seen this so far in the Basketball Champions League. Right before tip-off, you can see it's coming. The whole crowd is just full of purple. I think the last time I saw this was in Thessaloniki with either the PAOK or Aris fans. But what is it about those Holon fans and that beginning game experience where they throw onto the court? And was that something that really made you stay another season with Holon?
By far, Holon is the most, you know, to me, in my opinion, the most craziest fans I've ever experienced. But yeah, for sure, you know, I think just that, you know, just that atmosphere, you know, that fight, that toughness, that gritty, you know, them bringing that support every game, you know, whether it was last season without the fans, you know, them always, you know, messaging, and this year just, you know, bringing that intensity into the arena. So it's definitely great. You know, I love it. You know, I love Holon. It's a great atmosphere. You know, I love playing here.
Now let's talk about last season, because you mentioned there weren't fans last year, but it was a huge season for the club. You know, they hadn't had much success in the Basketball Champions League. Even in the Israeli Winter League, it was a big year. You end up winning Defensive Player of the Year last season, correct?
Yes.
But let's talk about that transition, the success of the club. How has it been for you as a player, and what have you seen in your team that's different in the last two seasons?
For me, just, you know, just being healthy, you know, I think just, and learning the system, you know, two different coaches from last year and this year, just learning that, but just being consistent, you know, staying focused, staying healthy, you know, meshing with my teammates, building that chemistry. And, you know, I think everything else takes care of itself. You know, as long as we have that chemistry, everybody's staying healthy and, you know, getting better every day, you know, the sky's the limit.
Now, again, I want to go back to the accolade that you won last year. Now, they currently don't have the Defensive Player of the Year award in the Basketball Champions League. But if there was, the two questions I have is, what would be the mindset for a player such as yourself to win an accolade if there was one in the Basketball Champions League? And who are some potential candidates, whether they're on your team or teams that you've seen or played against, that could potentially win this award?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, you know, for Defensive Player of the Year. So I can't really think of anybody, but, you know, just having that accolade and what it takes is just, you know, being a game changer. You know, when you're on the court, the plus minus, you know, doing the little things that doesn't show up, keeping your guy, you know, he doesn't score on you, you know, less than a possession every time, and just having that gritty. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. But off the top of my head, I really can't find or think anybody. And it's crazy because me and Kaiser was first team all NBA. First team all Champions League last year. So, you know, we have two good defensive players and of that. But just based off thinking, I can't really think anybody.
Now, there's two players on your team I have to ask you about. I always have to ask about teammates. I always talk about the fans and teammates because, you know, what they could do on the court and maybe a little bit off the court as well. But let's talk about Raglan. I mean, what is it like to play with a player such as Raglan on your squad?
Smart. You know, he knows where everybody's strengths is. He knows where, you know, get you the ball at. You know, he's a tough point guard, veteran point guard. So it's good to have him on the team. You know, he brings that veteran leadership, and it's good. Like I said, he's a smart point guard. The
other player I have to ask you about is definitely a fan favorite. You know, He goes to some arenas, you just hear immense jeers, you hear immense cheers. You know who I'm talking about. This
We ain't got to talk about it. Yeah.
I mean, look, the thing I love about this guy is he is like the Robert Ory of Israel. He just steps up and hits big shots. I mean, he must have a basketball IQ that's off the scale. But what's it like having a teammate like Guy Panini?
He's a great guy. You know, you love having him on your team. He's a smart veteran player. I mean, I can't say much about him. I can't say too many things about him. He's a great guy. I like playing with him. He's like Joe. He knows where your spot's at. He knows, to break down the defense. He knows just everything. He makes clutch shots, like you said. So it's good to have a guy on the team. He's a headache. He's a headache if you're not playing with him, but I love to play with him.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the Basketball Champions League podcast. We wish you all the very best, and we'll catch up with you soon, my brother.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Happy good New Year again.
Well, that was the main event with Chris Johnson of Hapoel Holon. But right now, we're moving on here to the film room, and I'm with the usual Diccon Lloyd-Smeath. Diccon, Happy New Year to you. How are you doing, my brother?
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Josh. Doing good. How are you?
Well, I'm excited because the play-ins have started. The BCL is coming back. What do you have for us this week?
So we're going to do something slightly different with Film Room this week. Because we've got the play-ins coming, we decided to have a quick look at one of the matchups from the perspective of Film Room and maybe jump into a little bit of video and see if we can't look at, in about 3 minutes, see if we can't look at one aspect of the game for each team that might be decisive. You never know. We'll see if we get lucky. So what we're looking at is the champions Burgos, and we're looking at their matched up with Darusafaka. I don't think we've ever seen in the 2 years, I don't think we've seen Burgos look vulnerable, but they're starting to look a little bit like they might be there as an opportunity for Darusafaka, but you can never write them off. So let's have a little look at the data in the film and see what there is to see. All right, so as we press play on the film here, we do need to warn you, this might get a little bit nerdy, right? So if you like KD here and you don't like to look at graphs when you're talking hoop, maybe this section won't be for you. So the first shot we're looking at is Burgos, and we're looking at spot up efficiency, which is on the way up, shooting percentage from three, and to the right, the percentage of time you score from a spot up. So that can also be attacking closeouts. Now with Burgos, what we see is that they're absolutely elite. They're at the top of the tree. They're shooting 42.5% from three, and they're scoring 43.5% of their opportunities from spot ups, right? So if you contrast that now with Darusafaka, they're shooting just 29% from three, which is struggling, and they're scoring 40% from spot ups, right? So we start on the film with Burgos, and we look at one of the actions they use. In the corner we have here, Tyrese McGee, about to run off a staggered screen. Now, as he comes up in slow motion, what you notice is he turns the corner and he's got a wide open lane to the rim, which means that Maxime Salash's man needs to help off and come. And that's it, easy kick out, wide open three. All right. And this is a play you'll see a lot from Burgos. If we got another clip here, this time, as you look in the bottom of the screen, you've got Vitor Benite running off the staggered screens, as he has done for years for Burgos. As we watch it in slow-mo, this forces a switch when Julian Gamble here rolls to the rim. Now, the net result of that is a slight shade of help off Hayden Dalton's man. Benitez spots it, finds him, stands still, knocked down three. So the thing you need to see with Burgos is you'll see this action a lot, and it's not always about the actions that they run for the shooters, it's the way they use it to create shots. Now, the next thing we're looking at here is Darusafaka, and we're looking at a chart for efficiency on the offensive glass. So it's offensive rebound percentage versus scoring from putbacks. Now, we're choosing putbacks because second chance points also includes threes, and Darusafaka don't shoot so well. But when it comes to this, they're top five when it comes to efficiency from scoring directly from offensive rebounds and how often they actually pull down a miss. So they're pulling down 31.5%, and they've scored 50 points from putbacks in 5 games, which is elite so far. And on the other end of that, as we look here, we see Burgos, they're actually struggling, right? So they've scored only 12 points from putbacks. So as we jump into the clips for Darusafaka, we're going to be mostly looking at Booth and Gabe Olaseni, but we also look at it as a whole team. As you see here, always 3 on the glass. So the first shot goes up, they out-hustle, they outwork. Second shot goes up, and again, 3 on the glass. This time Booth pulls it down in the trees, outworks everybody, goes up again, draws the foul. And he really is hard work on the glass. He really is a lot to hold. And we go into the second clip. This one's all about Gabe Olaseni. Nice offense from Darusafaka. As the shot goes up on the extra pass, Stepanovic against Olaseni, and Olaseni just monsters him out the way, almost throws him off the court, and gets straight to the rim right here for an easy cleanup and 2 points. And he really has been very difficult to handle in the paint, and you can expect more of the same in this game for sure. So there you have it. The two potentially key matchup areas will be Burgos' ability to create easy looks on spot up shots, and for Darusafaka it could be just about getting the hard hat on and going to work on the offensive glass.
I love this. I completely love this because we're looking at two teams, almost like two different worlds of basketball. You look at Herrera San Pablo Burgos, it's about the stagger screens and the perimeter shots. You look at Darusafaka, it's about knit and grit, rough and tough, get those offensive rebounds and take no prisoners. But let's move into the head-to-head now. You know, I know that you're a big supporter of Herrera, the way that Herrera San Pablo Burgos play their basketball. You know that I'm a big fan of, obviously, Darusafaka and how they do their things. You're going to give me 30 seconds as to exactly why Herrera San Pablo Burgos are going to win this matchup in the play-in in game one. Let me get my timer out. Okay, Dickon, your 30 seconds starts now.
San Pablo Burgos, 2 times champions. Can't underestimate the team. So many of the same guys back. Vito Benite, Dejan Kravic, the 3 championships already. Just expect them to turn it up a notch in the play-ins. It's almost like a new season. They've played against a Turkish opponent before in Besiktas. Darusafaka have not played any ACB teams this year. 2-4 against 4-2. Darusafaka like to get on the glass, but then they're going to have to deal with Julian Gamble and Dejan Kravic. It's going to be tough.
Ooh, just got it. And that was good. That was a good point you made there. But I'm going to give you 30 seconds as to why that's not going to happen and why Darusafaka are going to win this first playing game. Starting now. Well, first thing you got to understand is that Herrera San Pablo Burgos are suffering from mental and physical fatigue. And what worse opponent to play against than the team that out completely does their opponents through offensive rebounds. They've got a battle and they're going to be muscled by Gabe Olaseni, Nathan Booth. And on top of that, when the rough and tough part of the game is done, the fourth quarter is going to belong to Troy Copain and Ozdemiroğlu. After physically battling down Herrera San Pablo Burgos, at that point, it's going to be the Copain and the Ozdemiroğlu show. Darusafaka will win this game. And that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. And then you'll hear every Turkish basketball fan say, İyi geceler, which means good night.
Persuasive stuff, but I'm sticking with Burgos on this one. Experience in these type of games in the BCL, this is their competition now. You know, they've made it their thing. Just expect them to raise it again. You know, Vito Benite, this guy, this is what he does. He scores in big games. Are you really going to go against that?
I've got no choice. I mean, look, Gabe Olaseni, for me, the highest player index in the FIBA Eurobasket qualifiers. Gabe Olaseni, they've had a rough season. And, you know, like Herrera San Pablo Burgos, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for them as well. But this is the playoffs now. This is the play-ins, excuse me. I mean, this is what you come ready to play for. And right now, the mental fatigue is going to play in for Herrera San Pablo Burgos. But look, Dickon, I got to tell you, thank you so much again. I love the film room. I'm learning new things every week. I know our fans are loving it. I appreciate everything you're doing for us, brother.
Pleasure every week, Josh. Thanks for having me on.
Well, this is the BCL Trash Talk Podcast. It is now good night from us, and we'll see you next week.